We are turning into a Sticks reaction channel. 14 insane new upcoming gacha games you need to see. Do we need to see them? Let's have a look, man. Always on the lookout for some new waifu hunting games, so let's see what we got coming.
New gacha games are announced every month, but not all gacha games are created equal. With this in mind, these 14 gacha games are some of the most stunning gacha games that I've seen all year, and I'm excited to bring them to your guys.
I've got a feeling we're probably going to see, what, Azure Premilia, Mugen, and I forgot what it's called now. It's one that's, it seems a little bit more like Dark Souls-esque, if that makes sense. It seems like the combat's a little bit more visceral and solo orientated, if that makes sense. But it looks really cool, actually, like the visual aesthetic. I think that might be down the bottom right there, but yeah, let's see.
Not every game here is necessarily going to be good, but they all very much have the
There'll probably be a large portion of them that are absolute dog water, let's face it.
Potential to be. Do note, I have done dedicated videos for every single one of these games, and I have pre-registration info available on my website, mygachahub.com. So if you want to learn more or participate in future beta tests, you'll find links down below to do so. Now let's jump right in. Let's start this off with Abyss Knights. This is an action game featuring a very interesting top-down isometric perspective.
I think a lot of games that go with this sort of viewpoint, unless they've got a really cool aesthetic and they do something with like maybe special abilities, or the game's just insanely well made, I think they struggle, because at the end of the day, like, I do like cool characters just to play with, because, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't all have to be about the waifu meta. But let's face it, that makes things a lot better, and it brings in a lot more people as well. So I always think when they go for this sort of visual style, they're kind of nerfing themselves a little bit in their ability to pull people in terms of the waifu meta. But I suppose they can concentrate a little bit more on the actual combat meta there and bringing in cool characters that make a difference to the game. Whether or not people will want to pull those characters in is a different thing. But yeah, it's always intrigues me. But it's nice to see, you know, the genre's expanding now to the point where we're getting all sorts of different things. When are we going to get, and will it really make sense to have a first-person shooter gacha game? Because if it's first person, you're not seeing your character unless you're doing abilities and ultimates, maybe. You know, well, I think it'd be kind of cool to have one. Another third person, like I say, a really good, polished, well-made third-person shooter gacha game would do really well. Kind of like how Snowbreak feels, you know, Division kind of feel, but done really well. I think that would do very well, actually.
Reminds me a lot of Lost Ark. It has a segregated world, but it allows for you to freely roam and explore at your own leisure. A Chinese release is confirmed at present, but the trailer was released in English, which is evidence that we're likely getting a global release as well. Okay. It's unconfirmed when this will be releasing, however. Arknights Enfield is a large-scale open-world anime RPG from the developers.
I'm looking forward to
Arknights,
this.
the most popular, arguably the most successful tower defense gacha game on the internet. It features a type of tactical action combat, and while relatively open, also doesn't really have the same focus on exploration as UA or Genshin. It's likely that we'll be receiving.
That's fine though. You know, games can be semi-open worlds. And if it's semi-open world, that means it's more likely to be a little bit more condensed and linear. That doesn't mean it has to be all about
that moment when you try to helicopter and she laughs while saying it looks like a light switch.
Okay. You can fill it with lots of good combat and things to explore in that regards. Less of the actual exploring for things and more looking for actual combat to do. I am interested in this game though. It does look cool.
Release at some point in late 2025, maybe early 2026, given they've shown a significant amount of progress during their last beta. Azure Premilia is an open world action anime RPG from Manju, the developers of the popular free-to-play friendly Azure Lane, releasing cross-platform onto PC,
this game looks
PS5,
amazing.
Android, and iOS. It's also arguably
this game looks really good, actually.
The best looking upcoming gacha game, no joke. It features a fast, fluid action combat system with the option of swapping between 3 different characters, each with their own unique pets, with their own distinct elemental affinities. There's a functional farming or housing or
The thing that gets me with this though is whenever it seems like you go into combat, it seems like it almost becomes semi-instanced, even though it's an open world. It seems that when you go into combat, it looks like all the other enemies disappear, and I've noticed it seems like there's kind of like a wall around the fight. and then as you finish the fight, all the NPCs kind of like fade back in. So I don't know if it's all going to be like that, or that's just certain instances of combat. But it's kind of interesting to see that actually.
System that is present. There is full flight, there are mounts, and so much more, which makes Azure Premilia one of the most innovative new upcoming gacha games in the
It looks
making.
gorgeous
The
as well.
release has been confirmed and is speculated to be released.
And it seems like them going in totally on the waifu system here, doesn't it? All the characters have just been all female so far.
In 2024, 2025, Black Beacon is an action RPG. However, much like Abyss Knights, it does seem to utilize a top-down isometric perspective. It's a dark, gritty game that seems relatively segregated from what I've seen via the trailers. A global release has not been confirmed at this time, and a release date could realistically be whenever. Nobody really knows. Chaos Zero Nightmare is a cosmic loop RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world.
Dude's flying through these, isn't he? Chaos Zero Nightmare.
Where the only survivors are forced to flee Earth due to the Chaos Zero project. The game is being developed by a super creative.
See, I like the idea of there being some more darker gacha games as well. I know that the space is usually full with it feeling a bit more, you know, there is some like more serious elements in some of the stories, but it's usually quite like, you know, upbeat and vibrant and bright, isn't it? I'm down for some more like post-apocalyptic dark fantasy stuff, man. I'm here for that.
Creative, the team behind Epic 7. It is confirmed to be releasing onto PC, Android, and iOS. Gameplay will be an amalgamation of roguelike, which are procedurally generated dungeons, turn-based combat, grid-based movement, along with a permanent death feature. That is unconfirmed at present. What this really means or how.
I'm curious to see is when we start to go towards a little bit more hardcore gameplay within gacha games as well. And I was saying this the other day, people keep calling, if a game's easy, it's casual. I think a game can be casual and still have a difficulty level to it. There's a difference to me between a game being casual and hardcore and a game being easy and hard. I think there's plenty of games out there that can have challenging combat and still be incredibly casual. To me, casual's more of a game that you can hop in and kind of hop out, and you don't have to put in lots of hours to like get to where you need to be to learn the game and to like farm or what, you know what I mean? You just doesn't, it's not something that you have to devote lots of time to, but can still be incredibly nuanced and complex and actually difficult at the same time, but just learns you that sort of stuff quickly and doesn't demand much time from you. Because I see a lot of people, you know, when it comes to like Zenlist, people are like, it's casual, which it is a casual game. Well, I think people are more just looking at the difficulty in that sense, when I don't see difficulty as what decides whether the game's casual or hardcore,
how
really.
This will necessarily function. The game was confirmed to be releasing globally in the second half of 2024.
It looks cool, though.
That's still the case.
I like the aesthetic. It looks dark.
Kind of quiet in terms of test phases or anything pertaining to a release. Duet Night Abyss is a fantasy adventure RPG with an enormously open, freely explorable world. It features a deep, rich narrative. Players can select one of two different protagonists, male and female, with each character having a different personal history.
This looks cool.
There is a fast, fully functional action combat system present, allowing for multiple weapon loadouts. Having played the last test myself, the combat is admittedly much better than I'd expected it to be, and it also has arguably the best third-person shooter gameplay in the cross-platform genre. It has an open world, but only semi-open world, not as open as games like Wuwad or Genshin, but much more open than a game like Honkai Star Rail. The game will be releasing globally onto PC and mobile.
That's okay as well, because I don't want too many games to try and get bogged down in creating that big open world like Genshin and Wuthering Waves. I think, you know, having that little finding that middle ground of something that's not totally linear, but it's more like instanced, segregated open world sections, that there's some exploration, but it's more about the density of what you got to do within that area, and it allows them then to concentrate on, you know, really honing in combat and mechanics and all that sort of stuff, rather than trying to create this massive open world and like pushing resources into things that other games might just do better. Because we don't need a bunch of open world gacha games, because you've not only got all the content within the game to do, but you've got like the overworld content as well, and it just becomes too much. There's only so much time you can split into each game, really, in general. But gacha games have that little bit of extra demand in a way, and need for daily login. So definitely, I'm glad to see these games are not going down the straight instance route, but having that like little bit of a midway of, you know, doing that sort of semi-open world gameplay. It's good to see.
So is a semi-real-time tactical development RPG where the player takes control of an expedition team fighting against the devil. It seems as though the game is a horizontal side-scrolling idle RPG from the gameplay that I've seen, yet it does tend to label itself as a tactical
Not really interested in idle RPGs myself personally.
RPG.
Yeah.
The goal of the game was to provide players a JRPG-like experience with
I really want stuff that translates console and PC because that's where I game. I suppose it's fine for a mobile, really. I suppose they are the sort of games that you can just have, you know, as a little thing when you may be watching a bit of TV or you're chilling or you're commuting, I guess.
deep narrative turn-based combat system and a cute chibi graphical style. A global release has not been confirmed yet, but it is speculated to be releasing at some point in 2024.
It's a skip for me.
I think it might have just released or is confirmed to be releasing this month. Before we get
Looks
into the other half
nice,
of the
though.
games in this
But
list,
yeah.
I'm going to thank my incredible
Not really
patrons over on
interested in,
Patreon and my YouTube channel members. Your
idle
guys' support
games.
is why I can continue to make videos like this every single month, and I deeply appreciate y'all being there for me. Duoji Tifeng Journey is a Chinese-themed fantasy game with striking resemblances to Genshin Impact. It is confirmed that there will be numerous factions present in game, each with their own unique aesthetic and focus. The world will be completely open.
That animation looked really stiff there. That's my only problem, is that there's going to be too many games trying to be Genshin, and they're just not going to capture that lightning in the bottle again. You know, Wuthering Waves has done a really good job of improving on it. Now, I don't really want to see too many of these games unless they're going to improve on the Genshin formula and be at like Wooer's level of quality. Now, I'm not mad about games doing it. I'll check them out, and if they're fun, that's all good. It's all extra games, but I don't want to see too many games trying to go down that route to try and be like Genshin, but not do it as good. You know, you've got to be better than Genshin now. You've got to be bigger and better. And you've got to provide something that Genshin doesn't, and Wuthering Waves does that perfectly, in my opinion. And I think for me now, personally, of course, Genshin is still the big freaking fish, but I think in terms of quality, Wuthering Waves is kind of the game now that you've kind of got to beat, in my opinion, in terms of mechanics, gameplay, visuals, and all of that, and combat, and all of that sort of stuff as well. If you're going to beat Genshin, you've got to beat Wuthering Waves, and then obviously, if you get bigger than Genshin, that's a different argument altogether. But yeah, I think you've got to be better than Wuthering Waves now to even get an attempt at competing with Genshin. And look at how good, in my opinion, Wuthering Waves is. It's better than Genshin, and it still is nowhere near, and it's never going to get anywhere near what Genshin was at its peak, and may not even get to where Genshin still is now, maybe.
Open, giving you freedom to explore anywhere you want at your own pace. A combat style hasn't been fully confirmed yet, but they do state that players will
nice,
use knowledge and strategy to determine the outcome of battles with diverse cards and rich tactics.
See, whenever I hear that, that's just dev speak, that is. Knowledge and strategy, it's just like, that's just dev speak. You hear that sort of stuff all the time, and then you actually get into a game and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's just standard hack and slash, pretty much.
Global has not been confirmed at present, but it is likely. You can't have a Genshin clone and not release it globally. This sequence is a futuristic retro.
And you've got to be on everything as well. You need to be on console, you need to be on mobile, you need to be on PC. That's where Wuthering Waves slipped on the global launch, but hopefully it's coming to PS5 soon. I think PS logos have been found in the game file, so maybe it's going to happen soon, because I think Wuthering Waves is going to do a lot better on PC and console than it probably will on mobile in the long term, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but I just feel like that game is best suited for a PC and console. Any action game is anyway, but Wuthering Waves to me just seems so demanding mechanically and graphically that I just can't see how it can be fun on a mobile device.
Fantasy real-time strategy RPG utilizing a real-time combat system. Both enemies and player-controlled units will move across a grid-based field in real time. The narrative will be told in both 2D and real-time 3D, with 2D models being vertical hand-drawn and 3D allowing them the ability to create beautifully crafted cutscenes. The game will utilize a progression system that's akin to Arknights
or the Hellgast
Nowhere, with chapters and missions. A global release has not been confirmed yet. Nordium is perhaps one of the most degenerate upcoming gacha games that I've seen. It is
okay, I'm interested. Degenerate. I'm interested, boys. I'm interested. We like a bit of degeneracy here.
a sci-fi game You utilize what are considered droids, and you engage enemies in aerial combat. While the combat does take place completely in the air, it also seems to utilize...
Oh, I think I remember seeing this. You're controlling mecha transformer girls, aren't you? Okay, I'm here for this.
Combat does take place completely in the air. It also seems to utilize an action combat system. You can freely aim. You can miss enemies with abilities.
We got
Nordium
jiggle
is
physics,
confirmed
boys.
Releasing fully cross-platform on both PC and mobile devices. I'm fairly certain this is releasing globally as well. I mean, even if it isn't, Little
Have we got
Sticks is
nipples there or
definitely
something?
willing to play it in Chinese. Project Mugen is a large open world.
Dude, this is the one that I am actually genuinely excited for. And obviously, we didn't get to see much, but there was just something about the vibe of this game. I think it's because it's got that sort of vibe that Zenless has got. Like, I hope this game happens because they seem to have just gone totally dark. But like, I feel like this and As a Premilia, are the two games where I think genuinely got a chance to actually be really good games, that are going to be up there with Genshin, Star Rail, ZZZ, and Wuthering Waves kind of thing.
World anime RPG with an urban fantasy setting. It features a Spider-Man style of grappling exploration. And
But I'm just when I look at this, is this actually how it's gonna? Is the city gonna be this open? Because I think the game's set within the city, and it looks great. This will never run on a mobile device, will it? Like, I don't play mobile games now, and I know some phones are beefy now, but like, dude, this looks actually insane, and the movement. Obviously, I don't know if this is true gameplay or it's just in engine or what. But, like, it looks ridiculous.
The devs will use AI generation to populate the world, with alterations made manually after the world is generated. It has a fast action combat system, and, well, admittedly, that is really all we know at present.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing that sold me, seeing him driving around in cars and stuff. I was like, what the hell, dude? This looks dope.
Only seen one single trailer, and they've been pretty quiet ever since releasing that first trailer. Which
I feel like they've got to continue on with this game, surely, because I think it got 5 million pre-registrations literally off that one trailer, which is ridiculous. So if they start to put out more content, I think this game could get serious hype that competes with, like, like Genshin and Zenless Zone Zero levels of pre-registrations. I think this game could easily get 30 million plus pre-registrations if they start releasing some more content. And that chick's got massive booba right there.
It is confirmed, however, to be releasing cross-platform on a PC, PlayStation, and mobile. It is expected.
It's going to be on mobile. Dude, it's insane to me, some of these games, how good they look that they'll come on to mobile.
At some point late 2025, early 2026 globally. Resonant Solstice is a game where...
Okay, we've got a world to wait for that then. Damn.
Players take on the role of a conductor. You drive a train, you engage in battles against enemies. Combat takes the form of a real-time card system with hundreds of different cards and thousands of different card combinations. All characters feature full live 2D animations. You can travel between different cities, each with their own distinct aesthetic look and feel.
Yeah, it's
Currently,
a cool
the game
premise.
is only available within China, but a global version is expected when? Who knows? Unending Dawn is an open-world RPG with fantastic character models, a dark, grim open world, enormous...
I think this might be the game that I was talking about that's almost like the gacha, the Souls gacha game, if that makes sense. Obviously, it's not going to be a Souls-like game, but that leans into that sort of style a little bit more out of the genre.
Boss battles. It has a focus on very fast-paced combat, unforgiving combat. There will be full character swapping mid-battle, fully integrated counters, parries, dodges, boss battles that look like they
I'm here for that, because that's the sort of combat I like, even though I'm not really a Dark Souls kind of fan, but that more of the full-on action combat, like how you've got in Wuthering Waves, that, the parries, the dodges, the actual counters, all that sort of stuff. That's what I want to see in these games.
Actually require a semblance of skill for a change. While there is no confirmed release date yet, it is officially releasing onto PC,
it looks
PS5, and mobile.
Visually cool as well.
Every major gaming platform is covered. Here's hoping when it releases globally simultaneously on every platform and not like the PS5.
How dope does that enemy look as well? That's straight a FromSoft freaking kind of boss that is, isn't it?
Jing, also referred to as The Realm in English right now, as it doesn't have a definitive name, I don't think, is a fantasy-themed open-world adventure shooting game with a high degree of freedom. Players will control a single character during battle with the option of cycling through a grand total of 3 characters at any given time. Combat takes the form of a third-person shooter with grappling, dodging, and a variety of different weapons. A global release has unfortunately not been confirmed.
So that's what I want to see. I want to see more third-person shooter gacha games that actually have good, tight shooting mechanics and are genuinely fun and have a little bit more to them. Don't get me wrong, Snowbreak can be fun in small doses, but I want to see something that's more polished and feels a little bit more of the level of quality of things like Genshin and Wuthering Waves.
But the game was speculated to be releasing in 2024. That really might not be the case anymore, given we're already in July and have heard absolutely nothing else. And that is everything. Some of these, might end up sucking. Some of them might never release. We see gacha games
Probably a lot of them that'll end up sucking.
get canceled all the time after all, and it's become much less of a shock these days. But these are 14 gacha games that could change your life forever, because
Make you poorer.
they'll drain every cent you have and leave you homeless and
For real.
probably alone. But I mean, at
You'll have
least you
waifus.
know that you spent the money well on a waifu that'll realistically never reciprocate the relentless, unadulterated passion or love that you have exhibited.
Okay, all right. Bunch of cool looking games. I'm definitely interested in Unending Dawn. That game looks actually pretty dope. The combat looks really cool in that game. I'm here for that. It seems like more one-on-one, more difficulty, focused gameplay. I'm definitely here for Project Mugen, and I'm here for, where is it? Azure Premilia. I think they're the three that I think have potential to actually be really decent games. Hopefully. Of course, Project Mugen's just gone totally quiet. Azure Premilia is probably the next big one that we're probably going to get, aren't we? I think does that come this year? I can't be 100% on that, but I think it does, doesn't it? And Project Mugen, who knows what's going on with that game, but what we saw looked amazing. It's whether or not it's going to look anything like that or going to live up to those initial trailers at all, because let's face it, lots of games don't, do they? So I think Unending, Project Mugen, and Azure Premilia actually looking really, really cool, and hopefully there's some potential there to be realised. But yeah, you should definitely check out Stick's chat. 14 insane new upcoming gacha games you need to see. Cool video. This is why I like to watch Stick's videos, because he always hits me with games that I'm just like, dude, I didn't even hear about this game. I suppose Arknight's Enfield as well is one to watch, but a lot of these, never even heard of them. Normian's the one. Normian, is it? That's the one that gets me. Freaking transforming mecha waifus. Let's go, man. I'm here for that shit. But yeah, check out Stick. Show some love. I like it.